called amplification. Targeting, recognize who I'm documenting on the screen. Group stalking at 211 is access. At too great a distance to cause any rumbling inside of my office. That's the demonic method of targeting. Threatening my life in doing so because they know that I'm documenting a company who I'm going to drain their pockets. And the entity is engaged in what is group stalking while a light source that's not the sun is over me. Let me be clear, all of the state actors who are Access LA are going to be held accountable for what they're engaging in. The terrorists that are the people of the state, the commercial group stalkers like Access represents, engage in threatening you vicariously and as the cowards that they are, while demons stalking in helicopters fly repeatedly over your head and follow you all around. And doing so, again, at the same time when I'm documenting Access, let me be clear, as clear as you see this is on my screen, I'm documenting them who are group stalking at 211, so you can see exactly what I'm in the midst of, which all of the entity is monitoring. Title 18 is underway. Title 18, section 22618, subsections 1 and 2. The light source is in the same position, and amplification. You don't see anything flying over. Nothing is going to create a vibration like is the case. That's demonic, and it's also terrorism in the workplace. And it's also an ongoing admission to real-time monitoring of surveillance on a communication device on the venue of the internet, which Access is also engaging in. Communicating a threat while you're documenting them, and then the entity engages in what is its demonic behavioral patterns. Let me be clear, the driver of that Access vehicle, just like I stated in the video, is going to federal prison. Access itself, I'm going to drain the pockets. The board of directors will be, let me be clear, they will be detailed with regard to accountability, because this is actually what they are operating leadership over. They are acting conformity to a statewide criminal conduct, a statewide criminal system. Teresa De Vera, the chair of the City of Los Angeles Mayor's Office. Okay, well, you know what's going on with regard to the Mayor of Los Angeles. She is standing beside demons who are in the position of corrupt leadership, who are group stalking right now while they're stalking in planes and helicopters. I'm referencing Dominic Choi and Robert Luna. Documented group stalkers by virtue of their corrupt leadership over the departments who are engaging in federal group stalking and monitoring. Karen Bass is not different. The City of Los Angeles Mayor's Office, Teresa De Vera chair, bearing the same corrupt, bad fruit, while a company engaging in this system, and then I'm subject to the pattern of threatening my life and safety as I'm documenting that. This is real-time knowledge while you have the ongoing pattern of conduct in the specific environment. That is the pattern within the pattern. Doran J. Barnes, Vice Chair, City Selection Committees, Corridor Transportation. You have a lot of words that don't mean anything. There are a bunch of group stalkers, and this is a company that's engaged in group stalking. That's period. That's exactly what this is. And the entity is repeating that pattern while I am documenting them, and this is exactly what I'm speaking to. The driver of this Access vehicle, he's going to federal prison, not only because he's present engaging in criminal summoning, which is exactly what I'm documenting, but because while you're documenting, the people of the state or any state actor in the entity engages in ongoing criminal acts to threaten your safety, to retaliate against you, to intimidate you, to threaten your life. The entity will, the driver of the Access vehicle represents the entity, not an individual. This is a criminal act committed by a government, and the government is engaging in ongoing criminal conduct as you document it. All right, Access is the state, and literally they are because it's LA County as well, but Access is the state, the role of the people of the state. Fancy rain gutters. There's nothing fancy about a bunch of demons pacing around stalking with methods of noise. It's showing their mental illness that's at work, and they're doing so in the shoes of the state, however, who are stalking in helicopters and airplanes and demonic methods. Because there is nothing that's going to cause any rupture, any vibration inside of my office. That is the outward demonstration of demon possession by those who are engaging in those demonic elements of monitoring audible activity and relevant positioning, while they are all surrounding in the path in the engineered environment, while a fake sun remains over my head. This is targeting not only by virtue of the specific environment, it's targeting also, which the federal government will recognize by the timing, as this is on my screen and all of the entity is aware of what's on my screen on my cell phone while Title 18, Section 2261A, subsections 1 and 2 are underway. So this is what I want to make sure that I am exposing right now. This is going directly to the prosecution of Access and the driver of the vehicle of that Access vehicle. Let's recall the license plate that is, who is going to federal prison. This is a state actor, and he is indeed going to federal prison. He is engaging in what is criminal facilitation, light activity, and relevant positioning, and doing so while the entity then begins sounding sirens. He is going to federal prison for the threat to my life that he poses while he is engaging in the elements of monitoring, while fixing his vision on the side of a third party, appearing as though he's doing good. This is all malice. I'm appearing to do good. I'm helping an old lady. She's getting out on her chair. This is supposed to be a compassionate scene that you're looking at. This is a sex scene. The light source is over me, that which is not the sun. This is a heavily documented third party as well, engaging in terrorism with LAPD on multiple occasions. The entity is engaging in the same exact pattern of conduct with Center for Better Life, with adult day health care, and the entity is engaging in the same coming and picking up third parties third parties such as Uber and Lyft. They engage in the same pattern of conduct. You're talking about a different face, same exact specific environment, same exact group conduct, criminal conduct by the state. He is going to federal prison, and so I want to document in this video, since the entity is engaging in this amplification while I'm documenting the federal offense, very serious, of criminal summoning the entity that's surrounding you by police vehicles, fire trucks, and ambulances. He is indeed, this is the light source that's over my head, which directly rebuts the sympathetic scene that they want to present to you. You are not deceived by the unnatural environment, and this is also an illustration of what is malice. This is also why you go to federal prison for this level of public corruption, which seeks to conceal itself at every level. This is what I'm documenting, and this is exactly what the government is aware of while they are amplifying the sound of plane engines, helicopter activity, rumbling my office, communicating a threat while animals engage in analogous conduct, barking at the top of their lungs as loud as they can, as ferocious as they can, because they're hostile about their criminal conduct. And as I'm speaking to, again, I'm going to drain the pockets of access. I'm going to expose the names of so-called leaders on a board of directors where they are documented group stalkers that are terrorists and sex offenders. They're going to be prosecuted for workplace terrorism, harassment, and sexual violence, and the impunity with which they act. This is the picture of malice, as opposed to the lawful or legitimate operation of a business that's actually doing good to the aged community. This aged community at Alvarado Gardens are engaging in terrorism with the state of California. The ongoing concerted conduct with the state, the ongoing communication of threats while you document supposed innocent conduct directly defies that, in addition to what always controls the specific environment and the stalking by the state. But the fact that if it's so innocent and I'm just documenting an old lady who's just minding her business, then the entity shouldn't be stalking in the manner that it is, threatening my life as I'm documenting supposed innocent conduct. That's the pattern, the ongoing pattern, while federal stalking on the venue of the internet is underway, and it's going directly against access and this state actor who's going to federal prison for criminal summoning and the ongoing threat to my life and safety and means of retaliation and intimidation, which is an unlawful and impermissible threat posed by the state, who is engaging in group stalking in the specific environment with the people of the state. Access also, which is represented by this company, while this third party and or state actor, this is a state actor because it's LA County, is coming onto the grounds and acting with impunity, doing so while the entity is aware of the fact that it's being documented. That's why you're engaging in acts of retaliation to your own demise while I'm documenting you, because you're fully aware of it. And so you come with boldness and engage in that pattern of conduct. You're not accidentally or ignorantly in the specific environment. You are doing so. This is how public corruption is occurring in the state of California. And it relies on the face of some old lady, some sweet old lady. And it relies on the face of some do-gooder service. And all you're looking at is relevant positioning, light activity, and audible activity. It's very deceitful what Satan engages in amongst the population. Now, what will never change is the fact that they're in the specific environment, and the demons that are the terrorist organization are relying on this engagement systematically based on what I do, where I do it, and as I also do anything on a communication device, which is the pattern that they are acting in conformity to. And it's directly relevant for purposes of enhancement to federal charges and sentencing that this male operating this access vehicle is going to be faced with. It is currently 2:33 p.m. This is the entity that is relevant, going directly toward his sentencing. P.O.C. This is why you don't talk with the state. P.O.C. And it does not create any rumbling to your office. It's demonic while the entity does so. You are engaging in what is the ongoing stalking in concert with access in the specific environment. And now you're doing so while I'm documenting the fact that access is indeed a group stalker. And you are both engaging in the demonic system together as one. That's going directly against, and that's exactly who Access is group stalking on whose behalf the state, who is in a black and white. That's LAPD. Dominic Choi is going to be removed from his position while terrorism is underway, not innocently, knowingly. This is exactly what they're devoting 24-hour criminal surveillance and helicopters in. And while you document the entity engaging in that criminal system, they are remaining present, stalking in helicopters. And that's going to be applied legally as you document any, or you prosecute and analyze any threat posed by a stalker in the specific environment, where you're looking at impossible light activity. My shadow is upright in the corner of an office, having nothing to do with sunlight, and you want to come and pick up an old lady as though it's anything other than the pattern of conduct, you're going to federal prison for that. Okay? And those are all of the hallmarks, by the way, and it's directly relevant to this driver of this access vehicle who was threatening my safety while they are arriving in relevant position on behalf of the state, and you are knowingly doing so in the specific environment. I'm breaking down the operation of that system. This is the entity stalking in helicopter at what is 2:05 p.m. Stepping out moments later, the entity is group stalking in the same exact environment at 2:11 p.m. Okay, and you're doing so, and the elements of monitoring are underway. And then while you are being documented, the entities begin sounding sirens, which is the pattern of conduct. Sounding sirens is analogous to stalking in helicopter. It's the same state conduct. It's the same elements of monitoring. It's the same highest threat. The entity engages in state action directly while you are documenting them. And my use of my cell phone in capturing this crime scene is my use of my cell phone while the entity is engaging in on direct action by sounding sirens, as opposed to just relying on this demon's creation of audible activity through the use of the vehicle, for example. While I am documenting it, the entity is arriving again in helicopter on an ongoing basis, which is exactly what I'm documenting right now at it's 2:34 p.m. where the entity is again arriving in helicopter, and this is pursuant to a long documented pattern of conduct. Criminal summoning is the grounds of this access driver's term in federal prison. The entity's documented ongoing acts of life-threatening criminal conduct, because you are enforcing your rights, is directly relevant to the enhancement that he will be faced with when he's prosecuted in federal court. This is how you are prosecuting the entity that relies on the criminal cooperative efforts of the entity that are the people of the state enacting it through any commercial means. That's what Fancy Rain Gutters represents. That's what Speaker Companies represents. That's what Smart Janitorial represents. And that's exactly what Access engaged in right now. The entity's psychotic behavior, stalking repeatedly in a helicopter, this is where you are witnessing the mental illness. Because in federal court, you're talking about what is enhancement, ongoing considerations for ongoing enhancement to the people of the state and how they're going to be prosecuted. And the world needs to also know that Access is a third party. It's a corrupt government. It's not a third party. This is the state acting directly. So this is a corrupt entity that is engaged in state surveillance. This is relevant to RICO charges, by the way, where they are actually engaged in what is a matter of public corruption. And those who are sitting on a board of directors, I want to be clear, exposed to what is civil and criminal prosecution. Public corruption is underway, threatening my life as I document you, in the same way that you are a group stalker, because your company that you are sitting in any position of leadership or ownership in, you are threatening my life as I document you, and the entity engages in an act of terrorism against me. That's how you are analyzing, just like you would analyze any other stalker or criminal's behavior while that crime is underway. Federal group stalking and monitoring is an ongoing crime. The entity continues to engage in more criminal conduct while you enforce your rights and document the criminals. That stupidity of documenting stalking in a helicopter in the specific environment is going directly against them. I'm going to drain the pockets. It's going directly against those who need to be known. You need to recognize their names because they are unfit to be in the positions that they're in. They are right now aware of the terrorism that Access engages in the state of California, in LA, which Karen Bass is not ignorant about, especially while those affiliated with her office are on some leadership position while the very company comes in and engages in the criminal system. And then I'm threatened with life-threatening activity by the state that's stalking me 24/7 in helicopters because I'm enforcing my rights. That's how you're going to, that federal prosecution is going to trickle all the way down to this driver who is going to federal prison. And this is how you are dealing with public corruption. First of all, this is demonic. This is engineered light on the sidewalk, just sitting there in plain sight. This is not sunlight, nor is that the sun that's going to be over me at the same position. Let me remind you. The light source is remaining over me while I am at the same property at 8 o'clock in the morning. So I'm standing at the same exact location. This is 10 o'clock in the morning. The light source is over my head. I'm standing at the same position, 10:43, 11, 12, 1. That was 4 hours ago. This is exclusive with regard to the maintenance of the so-called sun. This is the same Fancy Rain Gutters. These demons are pacing all around. They're going to federal prison. They were group group stalking with access. This is Carla Lopez, who's going to federal prison. The movement of the vehicles and the walking around in the engineered light, they're engaging in light activity and they're pacing right in your face while he walks to the van, walks back to his car, while this green vehicle drives into the parking lot. These demons are pacing under a light source that is not the sun, and it's over my head in the same position that it's over my head right now as I walk outside at 2:36. And the demons that are the LAPD, who are going to be disbanded, removed from existence as a terrorist organization in California, not a law enforcement agency. And their criminal system is fully exposed, and they continue to provide evidence, which a federal judge is going to apply to its criminal co-conspirator, the driver of the access vehicle, and the agent third party who's going to federal prison. The federal judge is not going to shed a tear for her because she's leaned over on a walker. Understand that. That's called malice. They are acting pursuant to the same demonic behavioral pattern. It is even more despicable and malicious while they get in and out of these vehicles, while these demons are stalking in the path and engineer lights moving all across the buildings. Yes, they're fully engaged in that pattern of conduct. It is not an exception. Even this third party's son who got out of the access vehicle, her son comes onto the ground, acting in concert with presumably her grandson. Group stalking with LAPD, already documented. Where this light source that's over me here in the morning at 10 o'clock, and it's in the same position as I'm showing you on video. And it was over me, by the way, at the same location. This is 10 o'clock in the morning. I live at the property, so this is the light source that's over me at let's get the light source that's directly over my head. 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock in the morning, 9:22, I'm standing at the same location where Access is group stalking as I walk from the same office where I'm located right now. 9 o'clock in the morning, 9:13 to be exact, and it's still here at the property, remaining over me in this position all day long, which is the identification of a demon-possessed group stalker who was doing nothing other than getting behind the wheel of an Access vehicle, acting pursuant to the same demonic behavioral pattern. While the entity is documented, the entity begins sounding sirens and stalking in helicopters to communicate a direct threat. But by the way, this third party's son and grandson are documented engaging in the pattern of conduct with her as well. I want to be clear, it is no exception regarding your age or regarding any physical handicap. No one is going to feel sorry for you or have any sort of sympathy for you under federal law. You're going to be treated like every other terrorist, sex offending group stalker, because that's the reality of what she is. It doesn't matter what language she speaks. It doesn't matter how old she is. It doesn't matter how sweet she sounds when she's talking. It doesn't matter if she's waving hi to me. It's light activity. The same exact life-threatening conduct facilitation while the people of the state and state actors such as Access come onto the grounds, and I am being terrorized by the entity while they are present, and the entity then goes to the extent to further threaten me while I'm documenting. Guess where that goes? It's going directly to this state actor's term in federal prison. That's exactly how the federal judge is going to analyze it, because that's exactly what is underway. That's exactly what's underway. He's standing under a light source that's over me at the same exact location when I'm in this parking lot at 10 o'clock in the morning. This is a demon driving an Access vehicle, group stalking with the state, who uses helicopters to engage in terrorism. And then those demons will further threaten you as they're engaged in surveillance on the internet, on communication devices, while you document them. While demons that live at the property are aiding in that ongoing demonic conduct, stalking in the laundry room, slamming around machines while they are together engaging in the elements of monitoring. This is being surrounded by psychopaths, and this is what the board of directors are engaging in. This is the reality of this so-called business. This is what they're sitting on the board of directors. This is what they are in leadership over. And that needs to be known. All right. The entity that's threatening you, remember, you're recognizing targeting based on what I'm doing as I'm doing it as well. So you are telling on the board of directors while you threaten my life, and I'm documenting their names. You're telling on them. You're not protecting them. You are not in any way revealing what is anything innocent whatsoever. It's the pattern within the pattern. And by the way, a vehicle showing up with Access is no different than any other third-party group stalker or state actor. It is as threatening where the entity is sounding sirens and you're looking at an Access logo. It is as threatening where the entity is stalking in helicopter and you're looking at the Access logo. And that's why you're going to drain the pockets. Okay, and it is not a coincidence that Access representing LA County, when I'm speaking directly to the criminal facilitation, that is Karen Bass, while she's in a role of leadership in Los Angeles, in the state of California. That's not a coincidence either. It's not. Whatever you want to bring with regard to documentation, I'll drain the pockets. You want to act in sync with these demons who are stalking in helicopters, you'll go to federal prison. I do not care what your name is or who you think you are, whatever power you think you have. You're going to find out what you do not and who you are not. You're going to find out. It is currently 2:43 p.m. This is documentation of obstruction of justice upon federal group stalking and monitoring. This is an unlawful and intolerable threat. You go to federal prison for obstruction of justice, which is the pattern of conduct, threatening me more, engaging in more terrorism while I'm documenting your criminal conduct while you're in the shoes of the state. And this is a state actor. Access is LA County. Coming onto the grounds, engaging in federal group stalking and monitoring while these demons know that I'm documenting them, showing, referencing their names, Robert Luna, Dominic Choi, and Karen Bass. They know exactly what it is that I'm speaking out. And I would tread very lightly, because the more you engage in that, the more it is reasonably construed as a direct threat coming from you, and you will go to federal prison for it. You will. It is currently 2:44 p.m. This is P.O.C.